Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Over the last few weeks, and particularly in the last few days, senior members of the SNP have taken great pains to explain that the party is not in trouble financially, that it has got money, that it can meet its obligations. And that is an utter lie. And we're going to show you why it's an utter lie, and that the party is effectively insolvent, and that it has less now than 6 weeks before it finally goes under and goes bankrupt. We're going to have a look at this article, but basically what this article is saying is that no one is giving money in any particularly large amounts. It's getting that trickle from the membership and small bits here, £10 there, £20 there, which is all very fine and pleasant, but it isn't anywhere near enough to run a political party. They are utterly reliant on public money, such as the short money from Parliament that it gets, to such an extent that there has been no major donation from anyone alive since 2017. That's 6 years without a major donation. In that time, it has been utterly reliant on the money it receives from the public purse via the various means that parties have of scraping money out of the taxpayer. And unless they get their books in by the 31st of May and approved, that money dries up. The party will have nothing. Sure, it'll get its £5 here, its £10 there, it'll have its little coffee drives and things, but nothing significant. It cannot meet its obligations. It is finished, it is bankrupt, and it is gone. And it is wonderful to behold. This journey of the SNP is coming to an end, and it is going to be a very, very impressive crash. And there's only 6 weeks to go. Let's look at this article and see why everyone in the SNP is lying about its finances and how they're all about to be exposed. Here it goes. So here we are. This party is in so much trouble. They haven't had any donors put any money in for 6 years. So SNP, big donors like Brian Souter, ditch party as cash dries up since 2017 IndieRef fundraiser. It's no wonder they've whittled their way through that 600,000. They've spent it because they have had nothing coming in. They've had to spend it. They've had to take the money that they gained by false pretenses just to keep existing. And that means that it is all during Sturgeon's reign of terror. She is responsible ultimately. Why have the police not interviewed her? The SNP is facing financial ruin if it cannot find new auditors before May the 31st, as it is now almost entirely reliant on public funding and bequests in wills, with the party's wealthy backers having withdrawn their support. The game is up. Anyone with money is not giving it to the SNP. They do not want to pour good money after bad. And the only reason they're getting bequests in wills is because people have written this into their will and then not changed their will subsequently before falling ill or dying or anything like that. And that's the only reason. But even that will dry up. So that is going to have a major impact, and they are screwed. They have 6 weeks until the money, the short money, is withdrawn, and then they've got nothing. They're going to have to start selling off assets, firing people, closing down for business, and it doesn't come a day too soon. And how can they be expected to run the finances of Scotland when they cannot even support their own party? And no wonder all these people were saying, don't question the books, don't look at the books, don't raise questions about our finances. And there was Sturgeon caught on video saying, for God's sake, don't ask questions. That means she knew. She is at the heart of this, and she knew. And therefore she knew that money ring-fenced for the independence campaign had been spent because they've got nothing in the bank. The SNP has not had a significant cash donation from a living person since the ill-fated campaign to raise ring-fence funds for a second independence referendum, the Scottish Daily Express can reveal. Nicola Sturgeon dropped the party's £1 million fundraising drive in 2017 after the disastrous general election, which saw the Nats lose 21 seats. It featured a dedicated ref.scot website and a video appeal in which Miss Sturgeon urged people to make a donation today because the party back then was not wealthy. It was not getting enough money to do the things it wanted as a party, and it daren't, let anyone know because they were so reliant on donors. And if the donors thought that the party was in financial trouble, they'd start not giving it, and it really, really would have been in financial trouble because people don't want to attach themselves to losers. Around 670,000 was raised over the 4 months, but when no IndyRef 2 campaign materialised, some supporters asked for their money back, and eventually several people submitted complaints to the police. Since the Ref.Scot campaign was ditched in 2017, official figures from the Electoral Commission show the Nats have raked in $2.2 million in 47 cash donations, but almost all of that was left to the party as bequests in people's wills. So nearly all of the 2.2 million they've received in the last 6 years has come from wills, not from living people. The last major cash gift from somebody who was expected to live to see the benefit was on April the 27th, 2017, when Euromillions Colin and Christine Weir gave the SNP £250,000 each. Well, a fool and their money is soon parted. It has been reported that Mr Weir later complained to the SNP and asked for his money back before he passed away, aged 71, from sepsis and an acute kidney injury in December 2019. Blimey, he only lived 2 years, winning all that money and only lived 2 years. How very sad. How very sad that is. And I genuinely mean that. I mean, to have a life-changing thing like that and then your life is just curtailed short. I don't know, 71. It's nothing these days, is it? You should be expected to make 80, for heaven's sake. So that's actually quite sad. But anyway, their donations are understood to have been looked at by detectives as part of Operation Branchform, although the couple are not believed to have submitted a formal complaint to the police. But he did ask for that money back, and of course he couldn't get it because they didn't have it, they'd spent it, and it's there. And if everyone asks for their money back, the SNP goes bankrupt today. Absolutely today. Nevertheless, the SNP hasn't received another penny from the couple, who scooped 161 million jackpot in July 2011. I thought he won it in 17. Sorry, no. Okay, well, all right. He had 8 years. It's still not great, though, is it? Anyway, over the next 6 years, the Weirs donated a total of 4.5 million to the Nats and a further 1 million to the Yes Scotland campaign. Then they're showing down here all the major sort of donors over the years. So Brian Souter topped, he put $1 million in then. And then Edward Morgan, who left nearly $1 million in his will. I'm sure his family were absolutely thrilled with that. And then Brian Souter again, then the Colin Weir and Christine Weir, all the Weirs, and then Brian Souter again. But then you look down, they were the big cash donations from living people. But then you look down and all the remaining ones tend to be predominantly bequests in wills. And it's just appalling that this whole party, the SNP, exists on dead people's money. And that's where it is for 6 years now. It is like a zombie. It's a zombie party. It's literally feeding off the dead. That's how bad it is. Anyway, the bulk of it was donated to the SNP when Alex Salmond was leader, another wealthy individual whose donations have dried completely during Miss Sturgeon's reign is Stagecoach founder Sir Brian Souter, who gave $2.5 million between 2007 and 2014. He doesn't like Sturgeon, and as soon as she came over, he withdrew support. I think he must have seen straight away how dodgy she was. He must have been aware of that, which is why he never put another penny in while she was leader. Makes you wonder if he's actually still contributing to Mr. Salmond as we speak. But anyway, that's speculation. The SNP has always relied on bequests in wills. Indeed, it makes a virtue out of the fact that people are prepared to leave money to further the cause of Scottish independence. Yes, never mind the poor family that might be needing that money, the SNP will take it and leave a family destitute and poor and orphans in the workhouse. Figures reported by the Press and Journal show that since 2000 there's been at least 70 bequests from supporters worth $4.6 million. Samuel Power, an expert in political financing at the University of Sussex, said, "Perhaps there is a particular appeal to bequeathing money because it feels like a cause for nationalists. But the fact is that nobody alive, nobody who can make a conscious decision of what to do with their money, is making the decision to give it to the SNP. Because they see, as we all see, that the SNP is finished. It cannot go on, and it has less now than 6 weeks before it is finally wound up. The clock is ticking, the days are numbered, and we will soon be rid of these people. Anyway, and that's what this is saying here. Now, unless new auditors can be appointed before May the 31st, all future public funding will be withheld, putting SNP staff at risk of losing their jobs and the party at risk of bankruptcy. I think if you looked, the party is probably bankrupt now. It's trading on unaudited accounts, effectively. Senior SNP figures have serious questions to answer over how they got the party's finances in a position where the future of their Westminster support staff is under threat. Well, when you spend $110,000 on minibuses, buy jewellery, buy £1,000 pens, have lots and lots of disposable phones and SIM cards, it's like a criminal cabal. It's no wonder the money has disappeared. And you have to wonder, with all those millions, how was it all spent? How did these people at the top feather their nest out of that money? Because you've got to look at Sturgeon and Murrell are millionaires. And you don't become millionaires on an MP's salary. It's not a bad salary, but it ain't becoming a millionaire type salary. So they have obviously feathered their nest, and one has to wonder where the money came from. And then you look at the 4.5 million bequeathed over the years that isn't sitting in the SNP's books, and you start to draw conclusions yourself, don't you? Although the SNP are addicted to secrecy, they have a duty to be finally transparent on this issue. And speaking previously about the issue bequests, an SNP spokesman said the SNP is immensely grateful for every legacy, large or small. Well, they will dry up too. Their days are numbered. They will soon be gone. Go out now, buy your champagne, because there's going to be a rush in about 6 weeks' time. I'm coming up. It honestly couldn't happen to a better bunch. The chickens are finally coming home to roost. All will be exposed. The full level of corruption, of mismanagement, of ineptitude, of criminality, I think, will certainly be laid bare. Fingers will be pointed. And I think ultimately this has to go to court. People have to go to jail, especially if monies paid in has ended up somehow mysteriously in the bank accounts of individuals. That will certainly mean jail time. And there's no way those at the top were not aware of everything going on. When they know that no money is coming in for 6 years and that they're spending money that was taken for one purpose on other things, they know it's fraud. There's no way they don't. And so yes, jail time, I think, for a lot of them. It's no wonder Sturgeon is a bit worried. Why hasn't she been questioned by police? This is a major question, and we need to find out why. Why are the police refusing to question her? Are they deliberately mishandling this case so that these people get off? I think there's a possibility of that. And if so, the senior police officers need to go to jail as well. Anyway, I shall round off there. Thank you very much for listening. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please do hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. But most of all, please leave a like. That is the big one for me. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, never misappropriate public funds, and goodbye.